Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we will be doing an exciting video where we will implement a full-fledged chat app within minutes. If you remember, we had this chat app series, but it took days to implement and it required a lot of customization and a lot of code to write, right? So in this video, we will use the minimal code, but we'll get the full functionality of a professional app. Okay? Okay, so the first thing to get started is to subscribe the channel if you haven't, like the video, and let's just get started. Okay, so we'll go over here to the ZEGOCLOUD console. You might remember this from my older video, and if you are new, what you need to do is that you need to get over here to console.zegocloud.com, create your account, and you'll get 10,000 free minutes for your video call app, chat app, or whatever app that you wanna build. Okay, so once you do that, the second thing is that you'll get over here and then you'll click on this create project. Okay, now again you'll see that they have like so many things that you can use. We have already used video call and voice call in one of our video. We have used live streaming as well, and other than that they have video conference, they have live audio rooms, have like on huddles and things like that. They have in-app chat that we are going to use today. Other than that, they have some other thing as well, like if we have like any sort of customization, telehealth, one-on-one, live shopping, game streaming, online karaoke, and watch together. And so basically they have like so much thing that you can use, right? But we are going to implement in-app chat, so let's just get started with that. We'll go over here into this in-app chat section. Next, and now over here, let's just call our app, you can call it anything like chat. So let's just call it chatus. Okay, now continue. I don't even know what does this mean, but let's just get started with it. Okay, so once you click on that, it will take some time to build it. Okay, so we'll just have to wait for that, and meanwhile this is loading. What I'll do is that I'll create a new project. Okay, so this project is something we'll be using empty activity, so let's just use that, call it chatos android, right, and finish. So it will take some time. Meanwhile, just wait for that. The project is also being loaded, so you can see that now we have this project that is being built right now. We'll just wait for that. Okay, so meanwhile it's building, and once it builds, this is just for someone who have like the same configuration as mine. So if you have something like that where you have this AGP 8.5.2, Kotlin version is 1.9, and core KTX is 1.5, make sure to downgrade to 1.13. If you don't, it will not run, so that is important to do. Okay, now you can see that this project is over here, like we can see that project. So let's just click on that, and once you click on that, you'll see a couple of things like app ID. You will have this app sign that is over here. Okay, and then we will get something like this, which is like service management. It requires voice call. If you have like voice call, it's already activated, live stream, and things like that. What you need to do is that you need to implement this as well. Okay, so it have some guides on how you can use it if you have like your own backend server and things like that, but we'll just activate it and ready to activate. So when you click that, it will take some time so that it can activate the project. But meanwhile, what we'll do is that we'll go back to project information, and what I'll need is that first thing is this, copy the app ID. I'll copy this app ID, and along with that I'll need this app sign as well. So we'll just copy those, and let's just go over here into this app. Now over here, let's just create a new package and call it utils. Okay, and now inside that package, I'll just create a new Kotlin class and call it constant. So let's just call it keys. Okay, I'm going to create an object for that, and now, well, I'll say that app ID app underscore ID equals to app ID. That's one thing. And then I'll go over here to this I'll get back to this section and I'll just get over here, copy this. Okay, make sure that you don't share this specific ID with anyone. So we'll just copy that, and over here what I'll say is that const wall app sign is equals to this. Okay, so just make sure that this app ID that you copy is a long, because that's what the ID will be requiring. And once you add these things, okay, let me just make it this thing. Okay, so now once you have these things, let's just close this so that we don't have to share it in the video again. Okay, so the next thing that you need to do is that you need to get over here into this docs that has UI kits in-app chat kit Android. Okay, I'll add this link to the in the description as well. Okay, now once that is done, what we need to do is that we need to get these two lines, copy these two lines, and go over here into your project, and inside this project settings section over here, this is important. And now over here what we will do is that we'll paste it. Now when you paste it, it will basically complain because the format is groovy, so you need to make sure that you use the Kotlin format. So we'll just copy this and paste it, and same will be done for this, and we'll paste it over here as well. Okay, so now let's just get rid of these. Now let's just sync this. Okay, so once you sync it, the next thing that you need to do is that you need to define this SDK in your build.gradle file. Okay, this is important, so we'll just go copy this line, go back to our Android Studio, get over here into the build.gradle file, and now beneath all these dependencies that we have, we'll paste it again. And now once again, since this is groovy, make sure to convert it into Kotlin. The guide is slightly outdated, so that is important to do that. Okay, and now once you do that, you'll just sync it again. Okay, now once the syncing part is done, what you need to do is that you need to do these two things. One is for notification and one is for this. Okay, so that is important that you need to do. And what I'll do is that I'll go over here, create a new project, so sorry, new class, and call it my app. Okay, and make sure that this is basically extending a application class. And now on create of that function, what we'll do is that we'll do these two things. Okay, I'm gonna import them, and now these are gonna come as app ID, that is the property that we created inside the keys, right? And this is going to be app sign, which is the app sign. Okay, so now once you do that, this means now the initialization of these things is done, right? Since the SDK is in XML format, it would be wise to use the XML approach, because this doesn't require any sort of major code that you need to do in terms of UI, right? And since the SDK is XML based, I think it would be wise to use it so that you don't end up in like in a confusing stuff. So what I'm going to do is that I'll change a couple of things. For example, we have this compose functionalities there. Along with that, what we can do is that we'll add these things as well. So basically, what does this mean is that this will add a couple of things. And for that, let's just get over here, add these dependencies to this, and add them over here as well. Okay, now let's just sync it again. So once you sync it, everything will be fine, you'll be good. Okay, so now that is done. So the first thing that I'll do is that I'll make it an app compat activity. It won't change enough of things, and we'll get rid of the composables that we have. Okay, and let's just get rid of that as well. So what I'll do is that I'll say content view r.layout.main activity, or let's call it login activity. Okay, so let's just create a login activity file. It's gonna be something like this. So we have something like this. Okay, we have a constraint layout for top and bottom. What we need to do over here is to add, let's say we'll create a edit text. Okay, I'm gonna say match parent wrap content. Okay, let's just add an ID to this, and this ID is going to be user ID. Okay, now it will complain that we need to define some sort of constraint for that, so you can just log them to one of them. The next thing that we need to do is that we need uh, another edit text. Okay, and we'll say that this is going to be user name. You can use it if you want. Okay, and it will be required by the system as well. And what else do we need is that I'm gonna call this something like, okay, what you can do is that you can get beneath that. Okay, so now we have these two things. On top of that, we can add a text view that says wrap content, and the text for that is going to be chat tools, right? You can add text size, that is, let's say 28 sp, and text color as black. Okay, and again, we want to make it align to borders, so that's important. And now this one, rather than going to top, we'll place it over here. Okay, we can add some padding to this padding, and let's call it 16.dp, so that, sorry, not dot, 16 dp. And you can also add some hint to this as well, so let's call it hint as uh, user ID, and you can use the same hint like this over here as well for user name. Okay, vertical padding, if you want vertical padding, you can also add that as 16 dp, right? And at last, what we are gonna do is that we'll create a button that's gonna be match parent wrap content text. The text is going to be login. Okay, and what else? Let's just place it down there. Vertical padding, add to this as well. Not padding, sorry, I've been using a lot compose, so I just uh, mixed up a couple of things that were not actually, that were supposed to be part of this. Okay, and add it over here as well. Now you'll see a slight differentiation between them. So what we'll do is that we'll get a user ID and username over here, and then we'll just let the user connect with this, and then we'll take it from there. So now this is done. We'll get over here into the main activity, and now what we'll do is that we'll create all these fields. So I'll call it user ID is edit text. Okay, and we'll also make it a late init var, so that it's being loaded again later on, right? And then we have this layered name and submit button for this case. Okay, so now we have all these things, right? And the next thing that we need to do is that we need to define, like, initialize these things. So we'll be just using this username and something like this. I think this is going to be submit. Okay, now let's just use that over here. Now we have these things, right? So what I'm gonna do is that we'll make something like this, where we get the user ID and a user text for that, and we'll check that if they are not null, the first thing that we need to do is that we need to make it store in shared preferences. Okay, so for that we're gonna call it editor is equals to preferences shared preferences, sorry, that should be wall editor is equals to get shared preferences. You can name it user and something like this. Okay, now once you get that editor, the next thing that you need to do is that you need to define this user to this and then put a username to this. So these two things are important. User ID will be more or less like the ID through which we will be trying to find out the users, and the name is going to be the name. Okay, so now these two things are done. The next thing that we need to do is that we'll store it locally, and once you store it locally, the next thing that we are gonna do is that, so now once we know that now everything is there, everything is done, we will call it initiate, like connect user, sorry, we'll call it connect user method. Okay, and now it requires a user ID and a username. Since it doesn't have any function over here, so what I'm going to do is that I'll create a connect user function over here like this. Right, so now we have this connect users functionality, and now over here what I'm going to do is that I'll connect, like I'll make that connection. So for that, what I'm going to call it, I'm going to call it zimkit dot connect user. Now over here what it requires is that it requires a user ID and it requires a username. So now the next thing is going to be connect user callback, something like this. Okay, so over here what you'll do is that it will ask you to move it out of the parenthesis. So I think we can, that should be fine. Okay, now inside that what I'm going to do is that I'll say it.code is equals to zim error code dot success, which means like if it's a success, or let's call it, yeah, okay, this means now we can start the other activity. Else what we'll do is that we'll say we can like get an error message out of it. So let's call it a string message, let's call it wall message is equals to it dot message. Okay, unless it's an unknown error, and then we'll see run on UI thread make a toast with the message that we have received, right? And in case of success, what we'll do is that we'll get over here, and basically this is again the same thing that we did the connection of that. Then you can see that over here you can create an activity that is a conversation activity, and you can call that. So I'm just gonna do, I'll just copy that thing over here into my Android Studio, and I'll paste it over here like this. Now we don't have this conversation activity, so what I'm gonna do is that I'll get over here, create a new activity. Okay, and make sure to create an empty view activity. So that is the one that we need, and you can change it to conversation activity. So once you do that, it will be help you create this specific thing that set a couple of edge to edge settings and things like that. Now over here, when you get over here, you won't see anything other than that, right? So now over here what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna get over here and then copy this thing. This is important, so we'll just copy that and place it somewhat over here. Okay, now over here once you set something like this, this means now the fragment that contains this conversation setting will automatically be enabled once you load it. And let's just try and see if we do that, does it basically works. So basically that will basically the one thing that we have done, right? And now over here this functionality is something that we need to call, so that it calls this activity and loads all these things. Now the thing is that this conversation activity will show us the list of conversation that are there. It can be a group, it can be a chat, or whatever that you have. The next thing that we need over here is that we want to initiate our chat. So to do that, what you can do is that what I'll do, I'll create a linear layout, okay, match parent and a row, and the orientation for that is going to be horizontal. Now over here, I'll add a couple of buttons. So let's call it text new chat. Okay, call it a group chat. Okay, so now we have these two buttons that are there. Linear layout there, it doesn't have their own setup. So what I'm gonna do is that I'll add it the top, and now okay, you can add a weight so that it equals you, like add the weight for new chat and group chat. But I think that is pretty much what we have right now. Okay, so what we want to do over here is that when we click on this new chat button, we would want to create a new chat functionality. Okay, that will basically allow us to connect to specific users. Okay, so now we'll get over here, and as you know that what we have done is that we have created two buttons. So we'll call it new chat is equals to as button. Okay, and again make sure to make it a latenate var, and the other one is going to be group chat. Okay, so something like this. So we have new chat and a group chat, and for new chat, let's call some settings over here is like when we will be using this, we need to add the IDs as well. So I just forgot these IDs to add them. Okay, that is new chat, and then for this is going to be group chat, and we'll get over here, and now we'll just call it new chat. Then again for group chat is going to be group chat. Okay, now what we need to do is that we'll call it new chat dot set on click listener, and now inside that we'll just create a dialog. So for that, what I'm gonna say is that we'll see user ID with whom we are going to chat is equals to edit text, and we'll call it this. Okay, now this means that we'll be creating a text field for that, and now the next thing that we need to do is that we'll call it a builder is equals to alert dialog dot builder, and we'll pass this into it. Now you can just define a couple of things that basically will be using for positive and for negative. Okay, so now for positive button, you can say that it says that zimkit router dot open conversation or something like that. We don't need that. In fact, we'll call it connect to user, and we'll pass the user ID over here from this. Okay, this is for one thing. Second thing is that we need to create a group chat. So for group chat, what we'll do is that we'll call it group chat dot set on click listener. Now over here you can see that we created this one text field. We call it user IDs. This time we'll be calling it group name. Okay, this time this is going to be group ID, and the last one is going to be user IDs. Okay, so these are the three things that are there, and now we'll be creating again a builder with no, but this time what I'm going to do, since we have multiple views, I'm going to create a linear layout for this case. For a linear layout, this we will define the vertical stuff. For that we'll be passing these three values to this, and now we'll be creating a like setting up all these things at the title and stuff like that. Now over here what we did is that we created a group name that says getting the name from there with group ID, and for users we'll be splitting it by comma. So like we'll add comma separated group names, and we'll do that. Now you can see that we have all these things, but we don't have this connect user or the group chat section. We also need to add one more thing, and that is going to be zimkit conversion type dot something like this. Okay, for the other one we can set it as zimkit type peer. Okay, These are important because this will basically tell the Zego SDK to how basically that it should be handling. Now let me just make some space over here, and now over here we'll create a function that says connect to users, okay, and the other function that says create a group. Now over here rather than setting it like this, what it require is that we'll call it to message activity. We want to add a context to this. Along with that, we'll be passing the user ID with whom we want to connect, and the last thing is going to be the type. Basically we have received the user ID is going to be a string. Make sure to use string. Okay, now we got this. In this case, this is not going to be like this, so we'll be calling it zimkit dot create group. First name is the group name, so that is going to be name. Then we have ID. Okay, so I think pretty much what we need. We don't need this as well. In fact, we'll over here you can see that you can add a callback, so we'll be creating an object that says create group callback like this. Okay, don't need this. I think that should be enough. Now we need to implement this on create group functionality, which means now once the group is being created, what we need to do is that we need to check if the error is null. So we'll call it to message activity. We'll pass the ID of the conversation, ID, the group ID, and the type. Other than that, we can either create an alert dialog or anything like that. So I think that is enough. Now we'll call these things from here. I think this users is creating an issue because this is gonna be creating an array. So we'll call it to list so that it okay, there is one more issue. We need to set it over here so that they are accessible to the functions. Okay, and it requires this user ID, so we'll just replace it with the text one, and I think that should be enough on what we have. We have done a lot of things. Now let's just try to run this, and once we run it, it will fail. And why it will fail is because there are some sort of like the SDK is slightly outdated and we need to fix that. So uh, yeah, you can see that when you run, the first thing that you'll end up is in something like this, which will say that there is some sort of a side channel that's creating an issue. So basically there will be a couple of things like that. So the first thing that you need to do is that you need to go to your Gradle property, and now over here you will paste something like this that will say android.enable jetifier, and once you do that, sync it. The second thing that you need to do is that you need to go to your basically build.gradle file. Now over here you can see this is you already have this packaging resources section, so we also need to remove, like, exclude these as well. So for that, what I'm gonna do is that I'll just remove it. Since we already have that, we'll be saying exclude plus something, and then we'll paste these things as well. One last thing that you need to do is that you need to add this Kotlin cap as well. And now let's just try to sync it again. I hope once we do all these things, it will be done. One more thing, yes, so one more thing is that once this is created, you need to define that in your manifest as well. So we'll create that like this. And what else do we have left? One more thing I think in the main activity, and that is that we'll call it wall shared pref is equals to get shared preferences, and we'll get the user ID from there as null, and also we'll get the username. Let's just call it UID and uname so that it doesn't mix up. Now important thing is that we'll check if they're not null, we don't execute the rest of the stuff and we directly go to the next activity. Okay, so that is important, and we'll also finish this activity as well, or let's just use it from here. So once the connection is done and we go over there, we'll finish this activity so that when user get back, it doesn't get on the screen. I think that is pretty much what we need. And now let's just run this. I'm gonna run this on one of my emulator. Okay, so over here you'll see that the app is now launched, and as soon as I launch, it crashed, and it could be because of some issues. So it's saying that there has been some problem with fetching the JSON, and again, this is basically not your issue. So basically, to fix that, what we'll do is that we'll add these two things into the SDK as well. This will basically get the JSON and the data binding. There are two issues that will be there, so make sure to add these two things. And once you do that, hopefully now when you run it, this will not crash. In fact, this will run. Okay, again it crashed. This time it should be something else. And it says that we cannot initiate the main activity because you need to use a theme.app compact. So I think I'm using a different theme. So that is also important to use. So over here, let's just use theme.app compact because we are using app compact activity. So you need to make sure that you have the correct themes that are compatible. Oh my God, once again, another issue. Okay, now over here it says that you're trying to submit button to an edit text. Now again, this is my mistake, so we'll just use this to fix so that the buttons are separated out. I'll hope this time this is the last thing. It will be, we will have these things, let's say. Okay, now it's again succeeded. Now you can see that we got this user ID. So let's say I'll get this user ID as 123 and username as Furkan. Okay, now let's just click on login, and it's like straight away took me over here. Now we have this new chat and group chats. Since I don't have any new user, so we won't be able to run this. But what I'm gonna do is that I'll run this on my phone as well, so that we can have two different devices where we can communicate, right? So now it's running on my phone. Let me just, right. So I have these two devices. Now let's just add a name. What that was 123. This time that is going to 1234, and username, let's call it FK. Now login. Okay. So now we have these two things, and now when I click on new chat, I'm not getting anything, and that is most probably because we are not the conversation activity. Yeah, you can see when there is a click, the dialog is not being shown. So you need to make sure that the builder dot create dot show is called, so that it actually show the dialog to the user, right? Okay, now let's just try again for both devices. Okay, since last time I logged in, this time it directly took me to this section, and you can also see that it happens for this one as well. Now let's just click on that. It will ask me to go and look for that. So I'm gonna say 1234, and as soon as I get over here, you can see that now it's logged me in. And now let's call it hi. You can see I got a notification over here. You can just get over here, call it hi, how are you? Okay, and now you'll see that we are getting this thing, and you can even like share the images if you want. So I don't have any image over here in the phone, but you can do that as well, and you have like these uh, emojis that you can use. So yeah, that's something that you can do. Okay, so now let's just do one more thing. Let's just create another emulator and run it on one more emulator and try to see one more thing that I think I can fix, and that is the avatar of the user. So you can also like define the user avatar. I haven't done it, but you can do it over here. You can see that I'm passing an empty avatar URL. Let me get one of the default avatar that they have, and now let's just run this on this Android API 33 device. And this time basically when I log in on this specific emulator, this will also have an image as well. Now we got this. I'm gonna make it 1122. So again, this is, call it AK login. Okay, it's asking for this notification, and now you can see that these are the two different things. I'm gonna create a new chat. This time I'm gonna create this chat with the other one. This phone emulator is quite slow. I'm not sure why. Oh, let's just call it 123, the user ID of the what we want to connect to. Click OK. And when you click that, it will make a call to the backend, and now you can see that now it's trying to connect to me. Let's call it a hi, send it a hi. So as soon as I send a hi, you can see that I got this, and it also have an avatar as well, which is again good thing, right? So this is basically how you can chat with create a chat app like within minutes. It didn't took any time on like setting up the chat. In fact, it just takes some time to create the user related stuff. But other than that, it's like quite easy. You don't have to manage the backend and all those things. It's like straightforward and it's all there. So I and also like if you want, you can also add like enable the video call feature for this and the audio call feature for this, so that it becomes like a whole full-fledged chat app. Okay, so now let's just try to create a group chat. So what I'll do is that I'll get over here and type in the group name as test. IDs, let's say let 12345, and then 156, and IDs should be 1234 and 1122. These are the two IDs. One is the device that I'm using as physical, and one is this ID of this user, right? So let's just click OK, and as soon as I click OK, I get this. Okay, which means that there is something wrong. So let's just get to see. This is the create group, and okay, yeah, so this is basically the problem. What we need to do is that we need to make sure that the code is equals to success rather than this, right? And then we will be saying zim error codes dot success. Okay, so if it's this means that it's successful and we need to create a group activity, else we will be using this. So let's just try again. So we need to make sure that it's been running on both the devices at least. Okay, so now it's running on both, and now let's just create again. Let's create a test. ID is 11234, and the group, let's just use it 1234 and 1122. Okay, now once I click OK, now you can see that it creates a group, and now let me just send hi, this is a test group. Okay, and as soon as I send a message, you see that we get a group test group as a test group. Let me just send a message from the the group that I am using. So let me just send some message from the other conversation as well, and now you can see that over here it says Furkan, then it says FK, and now let me send some message from this section as well, and from this you will see that. So basically this is how the chat works. So yeah, that was it for today. I hope you liked the video, and if you did, comment down below. If you didn't, please share your feedback in the comment section. and I'll see you in the next video. So till then, happy coding. Bye.
I hope you liked the video, and if you did, please like the video, comment down below and share the video with your friends. For similar content, you can subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram, and if you have any queries, you can join my Discord server where we discuss different kind of things. So thank you so much for watching the video. Have a great day. Bye.